Right now, the number one song on iTunes and Amazon is Tom MacDonald featuring Ben Shapiro, the song Facts. That is Facts. And you should all go buy the song at factswithben.com or factsrap.com. I would suggest going to factsrap.com and buying the song. I'll tell you why. This is huge. This is Tom MacDonald once again putting out a great song with a good message. And now he's brought in Ben Shapiro for what is one of the greatest trolls on the music industry we've ever seen. Of course, the media is absolutely losing their mind that Ben Shapiro has released a song that is beating out Justin Timberlake and Britney Spears. They're pulling out all the stops to make sure that we do not support a parallel music economy. Right now, even Nicki Minaj has supported Ben Shapiro's song, saying, not bad. Because Ben was tweeting at her, and shout out to Nicki Minaj for congratulating Ben Shapiro. But guess what? They're coming after Nicki Minaj now. Let me tell you why it's so important. American culture is being crushed. It is being destroyed. You've got disparate cultural factions. You've got a great culture war. And you've got nothing unifying this country culturally and morally. The purpose of the parallel economy is to support companies that support your values, to make sure that when you spend money, it only goes to someone or something that is, for the most part, in alignment with how you see the world morally. Music, of course, has become satanic, figuratively and literally. For those that are Christian or just Abrahamic in general, you take a look at Lil Nas X, and it's just satanic. It is incessant, insulting of Christianity. But quite literally, it's demons and the devil and homosexuality and things like that. If you are not a fan of that message, and I'm not saying, again, just only Christians, I'm not a big fan of the message of just do whatever you want all the time. I think responsibility is an important message as well. Then we have to build a parallel economy. So Tom MacDonald and Ben Shapiro collaborate on this song. And it is essentially describing this ethos of it is what truth matters, hard work matters. You can't be offended over everything all the time, and you can be, but there's nothing you can do about it, and I respect it. But the reality here is the most important element of this is to crush and to subvert the institutions that they are wearing like a skin suit. Right now, our once great institutions that actually mattered and explained to young people, to us, what matters to us, have been completely taken over. So we're going to take them back. And now you have Ben Shapiro in the number one spot. I want to go through the news for you, but I want to explain something first. And then I'll talk to you about why. Actually, we'll get into it. Taking over the industry is important. But my friends, let me tell you about my personal vendetta. We released a song 3 years ago called Will of the People. And I like it. It actually did really, really well with limited marketing. And I regret not knowing how the industry worked because it would have charted much higher on Billboard. Billboard, of course, is a magazine which publishes the best songs. The entire institution of music has been completely subverted and taken over. It used to be very early on, songs would get released, and the songs that sold the most would chart on Billboard. How many sales did you get? Radio airplay, I suppose, requests these things matter. Today, let me tell you how the music charts work and why this is so important. So you have Apple Music, Spotify, Pandora, you have streaming services. And what they do is they'll say, here's the songs that were listened to the most. This is the communism of music. I really do. I really do mean that, right? I mean that as a figurative argument. In the olden days, let's say Ben Shapiro put out a song, he would release records, everyone would buy the records, and whoever sold the most would be number one. Then things started to change. Now they say airplay. And that's when the socialist form of music ranking started to come into play. This is, I should say, autocratic or corporatist is probably a better way to put it. No longer was it about, do people actually want to support you? It was about how many corporations said your song was good. It's like the New York Times bestseller list. Say, I'm a New York Times bestseller. And it's like, yeah, well, it's an editorial list. They just decide to put you on there, even if you weren't the best, like even if you didn't sell the most. It's editorial. They choose who gets to be up there. So right now what's happening is Ben Shapiro and Tom MacDonald have put out a song. It has smashed the iTunes and Amazon charts, the most important charts, but the game is rigged. A few weeks ago, or I think about a month, a month and a half ago, I released a song with Carter Banks, Timcast Music, Trash House Records, Together Again. I teamed up with the Daily Wire's Jeremy Boring and Michael Knowles. We made a cover version of a song they wrote, and we released it. All of you helped support that song, and we sold tens of thousands of these singles, and we got millions of streams, and we hit number 6. And I was surprised to see that we reached so low on the charts. How could this have been? This was the biggest release we've ever done. It's got more hits than anything else. Big push from the Daily Wire team, from us, marketing behind it, of course. And we were told, oh, remember how we told you how we were tracking the song sales? What we didn't tell you is that we'll track the sales through these services, but we don't count them. Only big tech matters. If the song is purchased anywhere through any legitimate service, except iTunes and Amazon, don't count. And I think they said Bandcamp was fine too, which is funny because Bandcamp banned me for no reason. None of my songs are overtly culture war politics. I'm not pro-abortion or anything like that. My songs are literally like, I don't know. One was a love song. One's about the cycle of historical violence. No direct attacks on anybody. They banned us. So when we released this song in December and we reached number 6, I'm like, that's great. I'll take it. 4 out of 5 songs we released have charted on Billboard. And the only reason one of them, Bright Eyes, did not is because we intentionally did not go ham in the marketing department because we needed a control metric. I wanted to see how a song would do if we just released it. And it did decently well. 300,000 hits on streaming services and a couple thousand sales. And I was like, okay, cool. 0 promotion. Figuratively 0. There was like a little bit of like, hey, we got a song out. You can check it out. But I wanted to see how well we would do and then compare that to, so basically as we're releasing things, we want to know what kind of marketing is most effective, et cetera. So you get the point. They told us we're not going to count this. So I'm pissed. But it is what it is. Since the release of music like, since the emergence of people like Tom MacDonald and many others, the Billboard charts have been doing everything in their power, it would seem, to stop people from actually pushing their way up and getting recognition for succeeding in the music industry. Based on the amount of traffic that Tom MacDonald gets on his videos and the sales, he should be hitting Billboard every single time. But he's not. How could that be? There's always some issue here. Here's where we're at right now. Tom MacDonald and Ben Shapiro release a song. It is number 1 in sales in iTunes and Amazon. And now the response we're getting, it doesn't even matter anyway. I mean, they don't register at all on Amazon Music or any of the streaming platforms, and streaming platforms are all that matter. Wrong. That's the lie, and that's how they're trying to trick you. And I can prove it. I can prove it, my friends. First, let me give you a very simple statement. If a celebrity with millions of fans could sell for cold, hard cash up front a song, why wouldn't they do it? Taylor Swift. I believe that Taylor Swift could command a lot of sales if she tried. Perhaps. I don't think she would sell nearly as much as people expect, and I think it would be embarrassing, and that's why they avoid doing it. Let me show you the iTunes charts. Ben Shapiro's number 1, Bigfoot Nicki Minaj number 2, Megan Thee Stallion number 3, Nicki Minaj number 4, Justin Timberlake is 5, Britney Spears is 6. These lists all make sense. Here's the truth. I believe that if Taylor Swift came out right now to all of her fans and said, go buy my song, they wouldn't. I have the metrics to prove it. They wouldn't do it. What would happen then is the facade would be ripped asunder. People would say, whoa, wait, hold on. Taylor Swift has 272 million followers on Instagram. How did she not sell 1 million singles when she said, buy my song? It's fake. I think it's fake. I really do. I've got proof. I've got hard data to prove it. And, you know, and it's questionable by all means. I think Taylor Swift would sell a lot. I do. But I think the reality is they can't command the sales. They want to pretend they could. So they divert to streaming platforms. I'll tell you why. There's something called DSPs, digital streaming playlists. Now, let me ask you, when you turn on your streaming service or whatever, how do you do it? Some people have playlists where they list a bunch of songs they like and they put in their playlist for sure. A lot of people just shuffle. A lot of people just radio. So for me, I have a handful of bands that I like. And what I like doing on Pandora, which I don't like Spotify, is I just say, here's a band I like, play songs like this. And I've discovered new music this way. How did I discover these new songs? Someone at the service decided this song should be on the list. So there's a really interesting circumstance that we experience here at Trash House Records, which is our record label. Despite the fact that we've had songs trending on YouTube, that we've had all of our songs hit Billboard charts, and I'm not talking about sales, I'm talking about in rock and alternative, we've had songs charting at like 16 and 14. Why are we not on those playlists? We're starting to emerge there. I can respect that. But the reality is, for someone like Taylor Swift, for Britney Spears, and you know what? I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this and maybe piss off some celebrity artists. The DSPs, here's what happens in many circumstances. A record label will go to a streaming platform and say, we've got big celebrity. And you know people are going to be looking for that music. If you want it, you've got to include the rest of our catalog. Talent agencies work with art, music, and actors, and they'll say to a movie, if you want our big actor, you got to put our music in your movie and things like this. So what happens is the average person opens up the app, listens, says, top hits today. I get in my Tesla, and I got to think, it says today's top hits, and it's got a picture of The Weeknd. I like The Weeknd. I think he makes awesome music. I'm a big fan, actually. The Weeknd is seriously one of my favorite artists. So it's no surprise he's there. He's huge. It will then play a bunch of songs I really don't like, and I'll be so I'm not going to listen to it. You know, man, The Weeknd really does have a lot of really great songs. But then it'll play stuff I've never heard of from bands with no followings. There's one song I did like, and there were music outlets writing about this guy. I'm not going to name. He had one hit song I really do like, and he had 1,000 followers. And I'm like, how did this song get on the playlists and actually become like a charting single? It's fake. So when Ben Shapiro and Tom MacDonald hit number 1, that's the only real metric there is. Because I will say it one more time before I drop these numbers on you and prove it. I prove it's a strong, provide my evidence to the argument that I am correct, which I think there are counter arguments. If Taylor Swift could sell her song to 272 million people for $1.29 and take $400 million after a cut, 350 or whatever, for one song, she would do it. No question at all. You've got 272 million followers. You say, go buy my song. Let's say only 10% bought the song for $1.29. Let's just say 99 cents. You mean to tell me she wouldn't be like, I got a new song dropping today, buy it, and take $30 million? Taylor Swift complained about George Soros' family, the Soros family, buying the rights to her music for $300 million. And she's like, that's ridiculous. It's not worth that much. Whoa. You mean you could not convince? And here's the argument. Well, because of the streaming platforms, people won't buy the music anymore. Why buy a song for $1 when you can go on the streaming platform? Okay. Fair point. No, I hear you. Tom MacDonald and Ben Shapiro can sell their songs. So whoop-de-frickin-do. You do not command the influence of Ben Shapiro and Tom MacDonald. Now, perhaps, if Taylor Swift, I'll make this argument right now. Let's say Taylor Swift goes and says, everyone buy my song. Let's say out of her 272 million people, only 1 million are core Swifties who are going to buy that song for $1. One song, $1 million, cash in her pocket. And she says no to that. BS. Because of how many songs she has, she could say, buy my album for $10 and make $10 million off the core 1 million fans she has. The reality is she would not sell that much. Albums still sell. Songs still sell. There are artists who get 100,000+ album sales, but that's like, I think it's 8 to 10 songs. I don't think they command this power. So what they're trying to claim is Ben Shapiro's charting doesn't matter because it's not really streaming. No one's really listening to it. Music has become random, and they are trying to intentionally destroy culture. But here's the evidence. I talked about this in an early morning segment. September 22nd, 2023. A Taylor Swift Instagram post helped drive a surge in voter registration. She told her 272 million followers to register to vote. Afterward, the website announced 35,000 registrations, an increase of 23%. That's 8,107 registrants. Let's play a game. Not every one of our fans are in the United States. So if we were to extrapolate how many people are in the U.S. versus a global audience, which he certainly has, let's say compare 272 million to a global audience of 8 billion, and then we'll extrapolate from there. Woof. Substantially smaller amount of U.S.-based audience, but it's hard to actually get the hard numbers. I think the majority of our fans are probably in the United States. I'd estimate 100 million of our followers. We could say 50, depending on how you want to play the game. Only 8,000 people actually registered to vote. Well, voter turnout is what, like half? So let's say half of her followers who are in the United States are not registered to vote. And they're mostly young people, so it's probably a little bit higher than that. She only got 8,000 people to go to a website, click a few buttons for free. Fair point. They're not fans of voting. They're fans of Taylor Swift. I think Taylor Swift makes great music too. I am a fan. My point is this. They don't actually command the ability to sell. They don't do it. So when Ben Shapiro and Tom MacDonald put out a song and say, buy it, and you do, you are proving this is actually what matters. I will say this. Let me pull up the Billboard Hot 100. Make a point. It's all fake. It's fake in a sense, right? So right now, the way Billboard works is on Friday, Ben Shapiro and Tom MacDonald released their song. Billboard, a company called Luminate, is now tracking all of the metrics behind it. Is it on the radio? How many streams is it getting? And how many people are buying the song on iTunes and Amazon? For every song you purchase, if you go to factsrap.com and buy the song, which I think you should. I am not in any way sponsored by Ben or Tom. I'm just friends with them, and I think they should win, and I'm glad they are. If you buy their song, that's the equivalent to 150 streams. So that means if one 17-year-old girl plays Taylor Swift 150 times, how many times is that going to be? She might listen 2 or 3 times per day over several days. On average, it's 150 people listening to that song once. You as one person buying that song is the equivalent to 150 people listening to that song. Let me show you the Billboard Hot 100. Yes and by Ariana Grande is number 1. We don't know exactly why. The metrics behind it explaining how it got to number 1, hard to see. When we look at the numbers, it's a lot of these songs, they get tens of millions of hits. However, and I'll show you, we got Lovin' on Me, Jack Harlow, Cruel Summer, Taylor Swift, she's number 3. These do make sense because these people are, they are culturally relevant. Teddy Swims, some of them are actually massive organic growth where someone gets really popular and kaboom, they take off. Some of these songs I've heard of, genuinely popular songs among a lot of people. I'm not saying no to that. You go down to the bottom of the list and you start getting into songs where you're like, oh, who's this guy? Who's that guy? And again, not to downplay, these really are the biggest songs. But the point is, in the Hot 100, which is the 100 biggest songs, I believe, in the US, you've got some songs that are very, very old. You've got some that are like, look, they've been, 12 weeks on the chart at 86. Here's what you do now. You look up the songs and you get a general view of how much traffic and sales they're getting. And you start to realize it's a lot lower than people might think at the bottom of the list. It could be somewhere around, in terms of sales, they're getting none. Then you ask yourself, but hold on. How are they on the list then? If it's just streams? Yes. And radio airplay plays a role. So if a radio station decides to put you on rotation, good luck getting that. Well, then you're going to start getting a bunch of hits and they're going to count that very well for you. Let's say a digital streaming playlist puts you on their list. Now, you may have never heard of some of these artists and you're like, man, really? Number 79 is 23 by Chase Beckham. Me, I don't know that, but I'm not trying to drag the guy. Like, congrats for sure. I'm saying the at the bottom of the list, the amount of traffic, sales, and listens you need are really, really low. Some of these guys, some of these artists will get like 200,000 streams. That's it. And then it's funny because we're talking to the guys who are tracking this and they're like, well, it's actually 12 million. And I'm like, how's that? Well, they're on DSPs and they're on the radio. So good luck getting organic growth outside the controlled industry to actually make these numbers. Sales, they don't get any. So, whatever. I want to make sure this is very, very clear. I'm not saying I know who or which artists are getting propped up. Some are. Many of them actually are doing a really, really great job. So, and I mean that. I'd love to be on that list as well. Rich Men North of Richmond is number 94 right now. Look at that. Congrats, dude. He's about, what is it? Last week he's at 81. He's been in the weeks, 20 weeks on the chart. Peak Position was number 1. So congratulations. Some of these songs are organic, natural, and good songs. My point is that some of them, it's a dirty, dirty game being played. And ultimately, my point is this. Any one of these artists who wanted to make cash would sell the song. There's an argument you can make, but yeah, but what if someone listens to the song over and over again? I end up making more money. Never going to happen. Like I said, one sale is 150 streams. So I'll give you some YouTube math to correlate. If I make a YouTube video, actually, let me just look at my metrics right now. I'll take a look at a video. This one's got 250,000. And let's do an average breakdown of what I'm not going to read the specific number. All right. Well, I'll just take a look at a couple and give you a general correlation. It's January too, so rates are really low. Yeah, it's hard to do. January has low ad rates. It looks like 100K is doing between 500 and $1,000 bucks. I think. Is that? I need to go back to like a December video. Let's go back a little bit, because January, there's no ad sales. Numbers go way down. So I think it's an unfair metric to use January. For real, January is not a month you should track. So let's go back to, and December's not either. December and January are the worst. December ad rates are multiplied, and January ad rates are super low because everyone's dumping their budgets. But like beginning of November, maybe October is a good time to track rates. So let's see, 150K mid-October, and we're looking at about $1,000 bucks. Makes sense. So it is comparable. 150,000. I got to be honest. If I could have sold that video for $1 to every person who wanted to listen to it, I'd have made $150,000. Instead, I made $1,000. Less than 1%. Any artist who wanted to actually sell music would do so without hesitation, no question. But they're not doing it. They're not doing it. And it's because many of them are propped up. I assure you, Taylor Swift, if she could sell one song to 1 million people and take $1 million bucks and put it in her pocket, she'd do it. But she's making most of her money on shows, big venues and things like this. So the play for a lot of artists right now is cross your fingers and hope. The streaming platforms will put you in their algorithm and raise you up to the top. And then use that marketing power to make money in other ways. So for me on YouTube and on other X and Rumble, you really are hoping that they will prop you up in the algorithm. But it would be infinitely better for me. And this is why we launched Timcast.com. If people went and became a member, $10 per month, and you get access to all the music. Well, yeah, I mean, the music's free, but all the videos that I make, that would be infinitely better. But I got to tell you this, guys, there is a balance to it. I know that on this channel, 1.22 million subscribers, and on so we've got 1.22 million here. Culture War is 1.5 or 1.6, or is that Timcast IRL? Timcast IRL is 1.6. Culture War is 1.3. Rumble is a combined like 800,000. There's overlap between the channels because some people subscribe to all of them. I know for a fact that if I said the next video coming up at 4 p.m. will be $2 only, what would I make? I don't know, a couple $100. I don't know. So there's a mix. I put the videos on YouTube. I make substantially less because people want to watch them for free. They don't want to pay for them. And they become a member on timcast.com for $10 a month. And I find that balance where we end up making a better amount of money. Ultimately, this is the point I want to break down with all this, because I really just wanted to talk about these numbers. I genuinely believe the music industry is in free fall, and it's all fake and being propped up. They want you to believe certain music is popular, but I tell you, man, it's kind of wild to me to go out and I'm at the casino and they're playing Stone Temple Pilots and stuff. And I'm like, it's kind of wild. Contemporary music, it's just not there anymore. So let me piss off one of my favorite bands. I am a big fan of Paramore. I grew up in the, look, Panic at the Disco, Fall Out Boy, all this stuff when I was a kid. I don't listen to their new stuff anymore. I think Paramore has put out some good stuff recently, but a song came out from them that we've criticized before about like the news. And it's like, turn on, turn off the news. It makes you feel bad, all this stuff. And there's like a positive message and a negative message and whatever. But I'm just like, I got to be honest. This is not a song people know. So I was at Seminole Hard Rock in Miami this past weekend. And I hear the song come on and I'm like, now that's interesting to me. Why is this song on? Because I can point out like Ben Shapiro right now at number 1 is more culturally relevant than the news song from Paramore was. But Paramore is an established major band. And so there's a couple things here. To be fair, music industry is going to say something like, we will take a risk on this song because Paramore has a proven track record. And to be fair, I love most of their music. Just this one song I don't like. There's a couple songs from them I don't like. You're allowed to not like music. But they do sell out stadiums and they do massive shows. So they're thinking we should play the song. People might like it. But the song isn't particularly culturally relevant. It's not charting well or anything. In fact, I don't even think it charted at all. Actually, let me check this out. Maybe I don't know how I tracked it actually, because I don't think it charted. I don't think there's a way to check it. Okay, no, I take that back. Number 34, U.S. Hot Rock and Alternative Songs on Billboard. Number 34. Cool. Well, congratulations. Again, I like the band. I'm not a fan of this song. We put out 5 songs, and 2 of them charted higher than that on the same chart. My songs do not get the same play. Again, it's not all evil. It's not all because the music industry is like, we're going to keep everyone out here. But there is a component of that. And the proof is that they're going to say, hey, here's a song. Let's play it in all these venues. Let's put it on all these playlists. It's an established band. I get that. They're willing to take those risks. But that means if someone like Ben Shapiro or Tom MacDonald put out a song that makes a hit and the media starts attacking them, mocking them, calling it cringe and things like this, it is political. But more importantly, let's set aside how the music industry operates right now and just say, you know what? Let them operate however they want. They cannot stop what is coming. We have a song coming out, I think, in a week or so. I don't think all of my songs are like operatic, grand, epic, the best songs ever written. I just make music. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. You don't have to like it. But we are massively successful and we command more influence than many of these artists that are charting. And yes, they have consistently tried to stop us from being able to go around the record labels. And that's the real problem. The record labels own it and control it, and they don't like outsiders, but they're losing control. So let me tell you, my friends, I want to say thank you to everybody who bought Together again. We sold, I think, 27 or 28,000, which is the biggest release we've had, millions of streams, and we charted lower than the other songs because they changed the way they track. Oh, they were tracking songs. Don't worry. Everything's great. But we don't count what you did. We don't count it. Okay. We'll be back. And all that really matters is this. The left says, you're grifting. My friends, if you decide to buy a product from me, thank you. How is that grifting? That's like, yo, I sell coffee at castbrew.com. And people are like, I like your coffee. I'm like, thank you. Please buy more. So when a guy comes out and sells a product, you're grifting. Ignore the haters. They wanted to make it political. Let's make it political. I put out a song and they insulted me for it. You don't have to like the music, but they lied about it. They played it through filters and they lied about the song and they mocked it, insulted it because they are political. And I said, okay, baby, you want to put politics into it? Let's put politics into it. And then I will tell all my friends, all my fans, everybody, they want to play politics. Let's play politics back. Buy the song for no other reason other than you want to fight back. I'll take it. If I can convince someone to buy a product from me that I made for a reason that they think is beneficial, then we win in the end. And so they can insult it all they want. They say Tom MacDonald and Ben are grifting. I say, if you like their music, buy it. And if you want to stick it to the machine who's attacking them for simply having fun and making music, buy it. And if for no other reason than to troll, buy it. You know why? Because in the end, there's only one thing that matters to the entirety of the industry. Can you command influence? Yes or no? If politics would sell music for them, they'd try it. Oh, wait, they do. Lil Nas X. They know they're not selling music to Christians. So what do? Crank it up, baby. Get as political as they can. Get it. Make it a shock content for press. Let's play the game. Factsrap.com. Buy the song. I hope. I don't think so, but I hope. I'd love to see this song, Hot 100. And it will be next week, Tuesday, when the chart should come out. And you will see Ben Shapiro as a Billboard charting rapper. I'm done ranting. I'll leave it there. Next segment is coming up at 4 p.m. on this channel. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you all then.